What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I am your good friend and host, Corey Willis. Hope everyone is doing well on a Friday, getting ready for week 2 of the college football season. Got some great matchups on the way for you guys out there. So, as always, hope you guys are, getting situated throughout the rest of the work week. Getting those last minute projects and plans done, and getting the grill or whatever ready. Getting your party food, your football snacks ready to go for a great weekend of college football and the NFL. Of course, we're recording this on a Thursday. We've got Eagles Cowboys ready to kick off. So overall, guys, I hope you all out there are doing well on a Friday. As always, guys, we appreciate your support with the show. Of course, be sure to follow us on social media. You can definitely follow us on X, Instagram, and Twitter at BD Sportscast. You can just type that in and you can find our content and connect with us on there. You can also listen to the podcasts, all of our past and present episodes of the Breakdown Sportscast on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, and we're also on Amazon Music as well. So you can definitely find the podcast on there. And we also simulcast on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. If you're watching the show on there, we very much appreciate that. And we also simulcast on Twitch as well at Breakdown Video Game Cast, where Chris and I are playing some college football, probably some Madden, as well as some other things. Whenever we have that itch, that urge to connect with our friends on there. On that
little 2K.
Playing some, a little 2K, anything out there. So yeah, guys, if you want to connect with us on there, we very much appreciate you guys' support. Just with everything that you do, with connecting with us on all of our social media platforms, we very much appreciate it. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. It's definitely important for Chris as we continue to grow this show and this community for the future. So, as always, we very much appreciate you guys' support. As always, you know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bowden. Chris, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I'm feeling good. Like you said, football is officially, like, it's really, really here now. We got NFL going too. So it's full-fledged football season, Corey. The high schools are rolling, college football, of course, that we're about to get into. So, and the JUCOs. Like, it's straight up football season now, Corey. So, like, we here.
Yeah, man, we are definitely full swing into football season. College, NFL. Can't forget about high school football. I was watching some highlights back at home in Mississippi. Shout out to the Starkville Yellow Jackets, of course, and they got them a big win. Yeah,
went down to the wire.
Yeah, yes they did. Yes they did. So yeah, man. It's always great to see more football each and every year. And hey, this is the moment that we all live for. We love this moment, watching some football, especially college football. As we're about to get into week 2, and yeah, I think a lot of our listeners can agree with us as well.
Yeah, man. Week 2 should be absolute cinema. I think there was so much hype around week 1, and rightfully so. Week 1 was fun. We got several storylines out of week 1, but I think as we continue to dive into what could be one of the more chaotic seasons of college football in some time, maybe some 2007 vibes. I think the vibes will continue and get stronger this week, Corey. It's possible that we can have some mayhem this week.
Look, it's definitely par for the course, isn't it? I think when you look at this week's schedule, you kind of cherry pick on some games. You like, this might be good, or this might be a stumping. But I won't go that far in saying that all of these games are just going to be some sleep snooze fest. Absolute sleepers. I don't think that at all. I think that you can delve into this week's schedule and you can definitely see that there's some potential big games ahead of us this week, and I can't wait to break them down on today's show, Chris.
Let's do it.
So yeah, man. Well, folks, week 2 is upon us. What do we have on the slate this week? Well, of course, like Chris and I said, we got some pretty interesting games. And one, we can go ahead and kick it off, Chris. The big showdown in Norman, Oklahoma. Yes, the Oklahoma Sooners are hosting the Michigan Wolverines. OU comes in as a 5.5-point favorite, Chris. Over under is at 45.5. So this is going to be an interesting game. You have freshman versus a guy that's already been established in John Mateer. Taking on a young up and comer known as Bryce Underwood. So a guy that's just come into this Michigan Wolverine offense, and he had a really good showing against New Mexico last week, and now he gets to take on a guy that's a seasoned vet in John Mateer. I think this game, Chris, this might be a high-scoring affair. I'm not gonna lie. I think both of these teams, their offenses this season, they're very electric, and I think this game may definitely come down to the wire by the time it hits fourth quarter.
Yeah, I can see that too, Corey. It almost kind of feels like if Bryce Underwood, the top high school football player last season, true freshman quarterback for the Wolverines, this could be the game where he really puts the nation on notice and might even expedite the timeline for Michigan football, because we are both very high on Oklahoma. We feel like Oklahoma despite their rigorous schedule, this is a team that's built to make a run to possibly make the college football playoff. And if a true freshman can lead the Wolverines over this Oklahoma team, whose head coach has a lot of pressure on him, he needs this one. If Michigan can find a way to leave Norman with the dub, and you saw Ohio State, they weren't ground beaters this past, the last week against Texas. They didn't just, dump Texas. That was an ugly game. It was a rough game. You're not necessarily you had no reason to be fearful of Ohio State. You've been dominating Ohio State. And you look at the rest of the competition, you feel good about your chances against the Penn State, Oregon, USC, Illinois, to name several teams. Hey man, this could really let us know if Michigan really can win the league this year or not. And if they win this game, they are a certified contender in my eyes, Corey.
Understood, man. I think this is definitely going to be a big test for both teams. Out the gate, I'm interested in seeing both of these teams' defenses. I really want to see some more defensive football. I know last week we saw a lot of it, but this game, I look at this game just like I looked at the game between LSU and Clemson. I think this game, both teams are definitely going to set the edge. I don't want to be too cliche about that, but I think this game is going to come down to who's going to wear out who first. And yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to see. And it's also going to be interesting to see some of these skill players as well perform. I want to see what Blaylock and Justice Haynes does for Michigan. Blaylock, is a really good running back for Oklahoma. Saw him a little bit in last week's game. Yeah, I want to see what the O-lines do also in this game as well. I want to see, who's going to turn it up a notch. I think both teams had a really good tune-up game to kick off the season. But I think having this game in week 2, we're going to find out a lot from both of these teams, from both of these quarterbacks. And, yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. If I had to put a score, Chris, Oklahoma's, they're in Norman. That's a good thing for them. I'm going to go out and say Oklahoma wins this game by a touchdown. I'm going to go on a limb and say Oklahoma 31, Michigan 24.
Okay. Yeah, I've honestly been struggling with this game as of late. Heading into the season, I just felt very confident in Oklahoma being able to defend home field. Thought they would actually win this game handedly. But I like what I saw from Michigan. I like you mentioned, Haynes. He looked like the guy that Alabama fans were sick to see leave. He put on a great performance week 1, and just Michigan is just a hard team to pick against, Corey, in the sense just they clearly know how to win. It's in their DNA. The last few seasons, man, they just find ways to win games that you don't think they should win. When you want to count Michigan out, Michigan finds a way to get the dub. And my heart is leaning towards giving Michigan this game. And so I'm going to say 24-21 Oklahoma. I'm going to give the edge to Oklahoma, 24-21. I think it will. This game does have potential to be high scoring. I just think it's going to be a tough game, though. There'll be some points scored. 24-21 isn't, it ain't a Jefferson Pilot. It ain't one of those 10-7 mid-2000s SEC games. But I think the defenses will show up. I will give the edge to Mateer being the veteran quarterback. This is his time. Bryce, we know you're that guy. But I think this is Mateer's time, and I will give the slightest edge to Oklahoma. But trust me, if Michigan leaves Norman with the W, I will not be shocked one bit.
Me either. I mean, I know you said that you had a little bit of a back and forth in fighting on who was going to win this ball game. I'm not going to lie, Chris, I did too. I ultimately made my decision that I think Oklahoma could win just by the experience. I think the more experienced quarterback is probably going to prevail in this ball game. I mean, I could be wrong. We'll see on Saturday, but it's kind of hard to count out John Mateer, with a better Oklahoma team, better than they were last year. I definitely could see that they have some fight in them offensively as well as defensively as well, which makes them much more of a competitive and complete team than they were last season. I don't I don't see how they could possibly lose this ball game. I really don't, unless they just go sleepwalking from the get go, out the gate. They go sleepwalking, and Michigan just pounds them from for all 4 quarters. So, um, yeah, it's gonna be a fun matchup. Can't wait to see what happens. But yeah, I think if I had to put um, a pick in, it has to be Oklahoma. I think they have what it takes to win this ball game on Saturday.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And just real quick before we go on to the next one, I will say there's two things I'll just keep my eyes on this game. If Michigan excels with these two things, Oklahoma could very well be in trouble. That's down and distance first and foremost. If Michigan keeps the downs to like a 2nd and 5, you're getting 5 yards, 6 yards on first down, and it's very manageable second downs. That'll be key for a young QB on the road to be in a position to make plays. And then, lastly, if Bryce can, those third downs, can they contain Bryce? Because if he gets on the run, gets on the loose, and flashes a little bit of that Vince Young ability, he looks like he has to his game. He's built like Vince Young was at Texas. If he showcases those legs and extends plays and gets first downs, that would be why Michigan wins. So that's why I'm going to keep my eyes on. It's just a couple keys to the game that I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. A lot of talent in this game. I think that's what makes this the game of the week for a lot of people. Of course, I mean this matchup could really showcase who's one of the top dogs in their respective conference. We know what Michigan brings to the table, but they're trying to become a better football team this year, as opposed to what they tried out there offensively last year. Defense was still good though, but yeah, in terms of Oklahoma, they look pretty much the same way. So it's funny that we're getting the game like this, knowing what both of these teams were like last season, Chris. So this is definitely a huge game for both Sherrone Moore and Brent Venables this Saturday.
Oh, this is as big as it gets for them both. Honestly, especially Brent, man, he's under fire there. Oklahoma needs to defend home field and get this one for his sanity. Because the people in Norman, that's an underrated fan base in the sense of they'll run you out of town too now.
Yeah, people think UT fans around this area are hostile. There's a couple OU fans that also live around this area, and they get a little hostile. I've seen it. So you don't want to be 1-1 if you're Brent Venables this season, knowing what we've seen from some teams like from Alabama, of course. You want to really make a statement this season and get ahead, because if you don't get ahead of schedule, a lot of teams that you are going to face later on in the season, they're going to be licking their chops by the time they see you on the schedule. So you want to have all hands on deck as soon as possible.
I'm with you.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. Can't wait to see what happens in this ball game. Should be a fun one. But anything else, Chris, you'd like to add before we move on to our next game?
No, just everybody sit back and enjoy the show, enjoy the scenery, because exactly. Norman will be rocking.
Yes, it will. I agree. Well, Chris, from the game in Norman, Oklahoma, we're going to move on to our next game. We have Duke taking on Illinois. This game is very interesting. I've been kind of looking at this matchup all week so far, and as we get close to Saturday, can't wait for this matchup to take place. Illinois comes in as a 2.5-point favorite to win the ball game, Chris, and the over/under is at 49.5. So they're definitely looking at this being a high octane matchup between both of these teams. A lot of offense is should be
Two
coming
great
into play.
QBs.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
two great QBs, of course. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Darian Menza does this week against a quality team in Illinois. I mean, Darian Menza, this guy was a pretty top rated transfer portal guy. I think a lot of teams would have loved what he brought to the table after leaving Tulane. Now he's at Duke under Manny Diaz, and I think Manny Diaz has a baller at Duke right now, Chris. So
He's got
I'm
got his
very interested.
Pavia.
Yeah, he definitely does. Who doesn't want to have more Diego Pavias in college football? I know I do.
But but yeah, no, Mensa's nice, man. We saw what he did at Tulane, and he's looks to keep that rolling here at Duke. And we know all about Luke Altmaier. We've seen him, what I'm saying, as a youngin in high school in Mississippi at Starkville, and went on to Ole Miss. Now was at Illinois, and he's doing his thing there as a senior QB, senior leader. So it's going to be a fun matchup. The fact that the spread is that close tells you all you need to know about this game. Vegas thinks Duke is legit, has a really good chance of getting the win, and I understand why. So, Men's is the real deal. It's not like Illinois. They have good players, but they don't have a bunch of blue chip guys. They're not like a highly touted roster. It's a well coached team that's bought into a system with some nice players on the team, but it's not a bunch of blue chippers across the board. So I feel like the talent level on both teams is pretty even in this matchup, Corey. Where I think the X factor is, I think the X factor is honestly Luke. It's Altmaier. I think being recognized as one of the top 12 QBs in the nation, and everything that's on the line for Illinois this season everything's built up to this season. They're all in this season, and I think they need it. And if you have aspirations and hopes of winning the Big Ten, you have to win games like this. And so I'm going to give the nod to Illinois in a game that will be a fun, high-scoring affair, and it will be close. It'll be just like Vegas is predicting. It will be a close game. I'm going to give the edge to Illinois 38-35. I think this will be another one that goes down to the wire. Both QBs will be electric, but the Fighting Illini live to fight another day and get the win.
That's an interesting take. I like that, Chris. Yeah, I think this game could come down to the wire. I think Luke Altmaier in Illinois is, they're building something this year. They're trying to showcase that they can hang. I think that this year it's there for them to become the Indiana of the 2025 season. So, yeah, I think I think this game is going to be close, but in the end, Brett Bielema, he's definitely going to have these guys ready to play, and I think they're going to find ways to win the ball game. Just because, look, we've seen Brett Bielema over the years, of course, what he's done at Wisconsin. Sometimes what he did at Arkansas, before the wheels, fell off.
Ask Ole Miss about him at Arkansas.
Oh man, they don't even want to talk about. You ask them anything about Collins, Hunter Henry, they don't want to know. They don't want to talk about that play.
I wouldn't either.
Just YouTube that, folks. Just Google it, literally. If you haven't seen it, still crazy.
Oh.
But but yeah, it's kind of hard to count out a guy like Brett Bielema. I think overall, Chris, you're definitely right. Illinois is probably going to be late game, probably near the fourth, maybe even the third. They're going to find ways to squeak out of this game with a victory. It's not gonna be easy for them, just because I think Duke is a really good football team, and I think Manny Diaz. We've seen him at Mississippi State and at times at Miami, Chris. Like, Manny Diaz, he will dial up some blitzes.
His trajectory to where he is as a coach now, man, he's grown so much. I think we have to give him his flowers. He was, we saw him at Mississippi State, and he was a good coach, but he did have his flaws. But the man he's made his moves and has grown as a coach, and he coaches really good defenses.
Yeah.
He has definitely progressed as a coach in the game. So credit to him. This would be big for Manny. Big, because is this year one, Corey? For him?
That's a good question. I thought he was there last year, but I
might be year two. It might be year two.
Let me see.
You're right. I think you're right. Because this is early on in his tenure there, though. So if you can get a win against a top 15 team like Illinois early on in your coaching tenure at Duke, of all stops, we're cooking. We're cooking.
Yeah. Yes, we are. And that is indeed this year. Is definitely his second year with the Duke Blue Devils. So yeah, I mean, we've seen Manny Diaz throughout the years. He's had 2 stints at Mississippi State, and both of those times that he was there, he was amazing as a defensive coordinator. I think he has a lot to prove, Chris, and we're definitely going to see it on Saturday on what he can definitely do. I mean, this is a big test for Manny Diaz and the Duke Blue Devils. I think if they can come out strong and make this a game, hey, I think that'll be great if you're a Duke fan. But hey, if they win this game, my gosh, we're talking about 2-0 at Duke in the ACC. It's gonna be very interesting in that league, Chris.
Yeah, man, it will be. The league is, we have the big dogs sitting at the top with, Clemson and Miami. And Florida State has inserted themselves in the conversation. Then you'll mess around and you got the SMUs, the Louisvilles, the Georgia Techs, and then the Dukes of the world in the conversation too. Oh boy, hey, the ACC all of a sudden is low-key stacked at that point.
Yeah, we gotta hand it off to them at that point. The ACC, they cooking over there. they already took down Goliath, known as Alabama. If Duke does this, man, they're off to the races.
Yeah, exactly. So hey, it'll be fun. But I think we both think Illinois will get out of this game with the win. Won't be easy, but they should get the win.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I had to put a score on it, Chris, I'm going to go ahead and say Illinois wins this ball game, probably 34-31. Late game field goal wins them the ball game. And hey, if that happens, Duke has nothing to hang their head over in that. That will be a really hard fought game that would showcase that Manny Diaz is not playing at Duke, nor the ACC. And I think people would definitely need to proceed with caution. Yeah, as the one Naomi would say in WWE. Shout out to Naomi.
Yeah. And shout out to Naomi. Yeah, for sure. Now definitely proceed with caution going up against teams like Duke, like your Louisvilles, your Georgia Techs. Be on red alert when you go up against those teams in the ACC, because they can sneak up and get you.
I definitely agree with you, man. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, Chris. I can't wait to watch this ball game. It's not the sexiest matchup, probably in the eyes to the average college football consumer. But if you're a nerd like us, you're really looking at this game and you're analyzing it from all different angles. And yeah, I think this should be a fun one. And I think it's an early game,
It
early in
is
the
early in
day.
the day.
Yeah, 11 a.m. kickoff. So yeah, this will we will be right
Set the tone.
into
Tone
it.
setup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tone setup for week 2. So I can't wait, man. This should definitely be a fun one.
Me too. Me too. I'm ready. So yeah, let's get to 11 a.m. Saturday.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's go ahead
Noon for
and
me.
right. Go ahead and hit the fast forward button. Oh man. But anything else, Chris, you like to add to this game before we move on to our next one? All
I'm
right.
good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, all right. Now, we're segueing, Chris, to Kentucky hosting Ole Miss. Ole Miss comes in as an 8.5 point favorite. Over under is at 50.5. We saw what this game was like last year, Chris. If you ask an Ole Miss Rebel fan, what do you think about this game?
Yeah.
They will look at you with the side eye. Especially us, knowing we're Mississippi State Bulldog fans.
Yeah. No. This game was something else last season. But heading into the matchup this year, Corey, there are some things that carry over from last season. Of course, you got Lane Kiffin, Mark Stoops. They're both still coaches at their respective universities. But the personnel is a lot different. And even though this game is taking place in Lexington at Kentucky, which is a plus for the Wildcats, this is a Kentucky team that, let's just be frank, everybody in watches SEC football is down on this year. Whole lot of transfer guys in. You lost a lot of your key players. Dane Key, Nebraska, Barryon Brown, and LSU. A lot of the top guys that you had that you've been building up are no longer there. And so I think this game, this will be a game of atonement for Ole Miss. I think Lane Kiffin will have these guys locked in, and I think they plan on running Kentucky out the building. I look at the offenses these two teams have, and they couldn't be more polar opposite. Ole Miss has a system in place, and they look to be cooking, looks to be plug and play. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback, who's at wide receiver. Lane Kiffin has a scheme. He knows how to get his playmakers the ball. Kentucky has an old QB who just doesn't have it anymore, Calzada. He doesn't look to be the guy that he hasn't lived up to the billing, and so I don't think he is that good. I don't think he's that good. I don't think Kentucky will be able to hang with Ole Miss, honestly. So I think Ole Miss, even though they're on the road, I think they run the Wildcats off of Kroger Field, and I think this one might get ugly because Lane ain't trying to have what happened last year happen again. If there's any coach in the nation, Corey, that we know who will run up the score, if he can, it is Lane Kiffin. And I think they will be playing 60 minutes of football in this game.
Not a minute wasted. No, I definitely agree with you. Look, we all know how, petty Lane Kiffin. Let's call it how petty Lane Kiffin can be sometimes with the play clock. He will he will take advantage of that play clock like it's no tomorrow. if he has that football on offense, he is going to take advantage of it. Why kneel when I can just score another touchdown? We're not trying to play in a way where they can always come back and get ahead of us. No, we're trying to play to make sure we extend the lead. How far can we extend the lead? That's what we want to see.
He coaches like he's playing college football 26.
Exactly. Oh man, it look like punt. No. No. I watch Detroit Lions games too. I'm going for it every time.
The man don't care, and I'm here for
it. He doesn't care. He does not care. No. I think that's the beauty of Lane Kiffin. Look, that's why a lot of people love Lane Kiffin. It's also a reason why a lot of people don't like Lane Kiffin. But hey, he's definitely a different breed in college football, I should say.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's in his own lane. Put it like that.
Yes, he is. Oh man, but yeah, I think this game is going to be. I don't think this is going to be a game from the get go for Kentucky. I don't think they have really anything in the tank to stop this Ole Miss team. I do think if you look on the flip side, and I like what I saw from Zach Calzada last week. I do think this Ole Miss defense is probably a little susceptible. And I think they're going to kind of showcase that through the pass and a little bit through the run. I did see a little bit of misses, miss tackles and everything last week from Ole Miss. So I do think Kentucky is going to showcase a little bit of Ole Miss's weaknesses, probably early in the game. But in terms of staying up with Ole Miss and in order to try to catch up with them throughout the ball game, I don't think this Kentucky team has that this season. And I think Ole Miss is going to win this game by a wide margin. I'm going to go ahead and say Ole Miss wins this game. Probably 35 to 17.
Yeah. I was thinking 38 to 10 myself.
Okay.
So I'm right there with you. I think it gets ugly. It gets ugly. Yeah. And so you're an Ole Miss fan. That's what you want. You want it to be as ugly as it can be with the margin of victory, because this was the game that kept you out the playoff last year. So I think all the natural incentive is there for Ole Miss to put a beat down on Kentucky. And the vibes aren't good in Kentucky for Mark Stoops. The man's getting paid $9 million a year, and they're over under this season for wins is at 4.5. It's just not going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it.
So it's not going to be his swan song. This might be his last season with the program, Corey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which will be tough, just because we've seen Mark Stoops from the day he got there in Lexington. I mean, you covered Kentucky sports there, Chris, and you saw the trajectory of Mark Stoops in Kentucky, and you saw great players like Benny Snell and so many other players, Dane Key,
Chris Rodriguez,
Rodriguez. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like these were some great talents out there. Yeah, and yeah, you could really see that Mark Stoops was building something special, and he did build something special there for the time that he's been there. You can kind of start feeling that maybe the wheels are unfortunately starting to run off the rails now with his time there. And look, that happens. We saw it with Dan Mullen at Mississippi State, now at UNLV. And yeah, we've seen it with so many other coaches. It happens, and we're not fully going to write them off. Yeah, we'll see what the rest of the season entails, but in terms of the way that he used to compete week in and week out, it's starting to kind of wane a little bit. Even if you probably ask the average Kentucky fan, it's starting to definitely give off that vibe.
It's a little unfortunate because he did do what you typically do as a coach. He did cash out. Remember, for a few hours, he was the new head coach of Texas A&M.
Yes, he was.
And so I think if he's at Texas A&M right now, things are a little differently for him. And to be announced as a head coach for another school in the same conference as the one you are currently coaching for things to play out like they did, I think that guy has a lot to do with circumstances now, with losing the locker room in a sense, and how things have just transpired, the fallout from that, how things played out with that. So it's unfortunate for him because he did try to. He saw that, I think, that he did all that could be done and was ready for the next challenge. So we'll see how things play out for him this season. If he could, steer the ship in the right direction and get a couple upset wins. If you are, it needs to start this week because you're at home and taking on a team that you beat last season, and this is a ranked team, and it's a conference game. And so any SEC game you have at home, you feel like, I think going into it, that you're looking at it like we should win this game. So if you want to get things rolling, it needs to start this week. I just don't think it will.
Yeah, that's all I could say as well. In looking at this game, that's what I see right now from Kentucky. Like I said, do they still, have a little fight in them? Do they still have some talent that could, probably make this game a little interesting early? Yeah, possibly so. Just because Ole Miss.
You got Kendrick Law.
Yeah, you got Kendrick Law. You got a couple of guys out there, but can they put together a complete game that can help them potentially, win this week? It's gonna be tough, man. You know how it is with Lane Kiffin offenses, man. When he has everything clicking on all cylinders,
it turns into a track meet real fast.
Yes, it does. And you don't want to be on the other side if you can't handle it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you're right. It turns into one of Usain Bolt Olympic races real quick before you know it. Ole Miss is looking back at you. Next thing you know, you down 21 points. And it's halfway through the second quarter. You trying to figure out what happened. So,
I know.
So yeah, no, that's very well how this one could play out. So we both rocking with the Revs to get the dub in this one.
Yeah.
But hey, it's an SEC game. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. It's going to be an interesting one indeed, and I can't wait for us to break this game down on our live Sunday show. So it should be interesting. But anything else, Chris, you'd like to add to this game before we move on to our final premier game of this week?
No, sir.
All right. Sounds good. Well, now we are going to segue, folks, to the big game of the day, the Cyhawk game, Cyhawk series. Oh man, I forget sometimes the name of this series, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup, Chris, for the Cyhawk Award. Iowa State hosting Iowa. Iowa State comes in this game, Chris, as a 3.5-point favorite. Over-unders at 42.5. You got
defense.
Chris. Yeah, defense. Another LSU Clemson game. Look, I love it. Bring me all.
So, Corey, you know me very well. As long as we've been doing this show, You know how I feel about Iowa football. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I got Iowa State until Iowa proves to me that they have a true capable offense. I will rock with Iowa State to win this game. Um, it's very bare bones analysis, but it's just the honest truth, and it's just how I feel. And so, not saying it's impossible for Iowa to win this game. Iowa very well could win this game. It's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. Um, I just feel more comfortable picking a team that I know has a good quarterback and an offense that can make plays. And I think they are well rested and ready for this matchup. So I'm rocking with Iowa State. Short and sweet.
Nice, nice. Look, I'm with you as well. I think Iowa State is definitely going to be the top dog by the time this game hits 0 on the clock and it's all said and done. I'm loving what Rocco Baker's doing right now, man. I'm loving it. I think
Gamer.
he's a gamer. He's a baller. Definitely a this team, this Iowa State team, and Rocco Beck himself, definitely ballers in the Big 12 league right now. I think this team has what it takes to get back close to where they were last year, and possibly back to the Big 12 championship and possibly a playoff berth. They were close.
They were.
They ran into
Right
the
there.
Cam Scatterbo, and the rest was history for them. But this year, I think it's different. I think that this is going to be a great showcase of showing Iowa State being a top dog in the Big 12 conference and showcasing that, hey, they can go toe-to-toe with anybody in college football and possibly come out on top with a win. And this game, I think they're going to showcase that. If I had to put a score on it, Chris, I'm going to say Iowa State wins this ball game 42-17. I think I think Iowa State has something cooking right now in Ames, and we're definitely going to see that on display on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was thinking 31-17 for Iowa State, for the Cyclones to get the win. Win by a couple of TDs, and it could be by much more.
It could be.
I will give some respect to Iowa's defense, because that's something that they do have year in and year out. The defense has never been the problem. It's just whether the offense can make enough noise. But I think there's only so many times you can try the defense out in the field with the offense falling short before the defense, finally breaks. They'll bend, and then they'll eventually break. And I think in the second half, that's when we'll see the defense break for Iowa. So I think as all rivalry games, most rivalry games, it'll be fun, electric, close early on. But I think that third quarter is when we'll see the Rocco Beck show begin, and we'll see the Cyclones pull away and win by a couple TDs in this one.
Agreed. I definitely agree with you, Chris. This should be a great showcase for the Cyclones. Taking on a rival, and also showcasing that, hey, from what we saw from them in week 0 to where we're seeing them now. Like this is their week 3. I think they're going to showcase they're a well-oiled machine, and people are going to have to be very serious about watching Iowa State this season. I think this is a season that they've been building on, and I think it's going to pay off.
Put some respect on the Cyclones, man. They have always been a team that's been sneaky. Now I feel like they are a legitimate, really good program. So definitely put some respect on the Cyclones' name.
Absolutely. And one other thing, shout out to Matt Campbell. This guy has been offered, Chris, numerous of times to leave this program, to leave Ames. What has he done? He has stayed there. He has cultivated a culture that now, you ask a lot of Iowa State fans, man, like that's our guy. Win, lose, or draw, we may get frustrated with them at times, and I've seen that online. You know who you are. You've definitely seen that, but you've also seen a coach that's been consistent with this team. You've seen the trajectory with him as a coach that's building a program that's consistently competing year in and year out for something. That's building for something. He has a really good quarterback, has a bevy of talent at the receiver position, has good running backs, great lines, offense and defense. He's recruited well, and he's been rewarded well. So, shout out to Matt Campbell for what he's been doing down there in Ames.
And I'm with you. I think he knows he has a good thing going for him at Iowa State. We've seen it with several coaches. Sometimes you wish you didn't leave that place where everybody loved you. You had a well-oiled machine. You see Scott Frost trying to tap back into that well at UCF, going there for a second time. It's I think some of these coaches kind of learn from others and see how situations play out, and they know for themselves that they are happy where they are, and honestly, it'd be one thing if they weren't a competitor year in and year out of the Big 12, but they're right there in the mix.
Yeah,
he can win there.
He can win
is
there.
Winning.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see how Arizona State break out and had the season that they had in the Big 12. Why not Iowa State? So, they were right there in the mix too, like we said, and fell short to Arizona State. So, hey, more credit to him for recognizing what he has in Ames, and I think they'll continue to build towards trying to bring home a Big 12 championship by taking care of business with the first goal, and that's beating your in-state rival.
Absolutely. I agree, man. It's definitely going to be a fun showdown between both of these teams, a big rivalry game. But it's going to be interesting to see what Iowa State does in this game, because I think they're definitely my favorites to win the ball game. But in terms of winning their league, in terms of handling their business week to week, I'm very much high on them.
I'm with you. So let's give me the Cyclones to bring it home.
Absolutely. Definitely agreed, partner. So yeah, man. This is gonna be an interesting week. Can't wait to watch a lot of these games, Chris. And we're definitely gonna be talking about them this week. But now that we've gotten through with the premier games, one of the premier games I forgot to mention, folks, is on the docket of Bolton's bets this week. So do you want to go ahead and cycle back?
Yeah. We can cycle back real quick. So for this week's Bolton bets, of course, we have Ole Miss, like we mentioned, taking on Kentucky.
Yep.
And I have Ole Miss to cover.
Nice.
It is. I know they let us down last year against the Wildcats. I don't think they'll let us down this year. Austin Simmons is the real deal. I know it's early in his time as the starting QB, but I like what I see out of him, and I think Ole Miss will put on a show. Simmons might get about 4 or 5 touchdowns in this one. It could be one of those games for Austin. So yeah, give me the Rebs to cover in this matchup.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely just had to knock out the Ole Miss Kentucky game. Just got that on the docket for this week's Bolton's bet. So wanted to do right by the good people listening in on the show. Let them know, what's happening this week. What to look out
Right,
for.
right.
So yeah, man. But yeah, we'll go ahead and continue, Chris, with Bolton's bets in week 2. Of course, we'll go ahead now, and we'll segue to La Tech taking on LSU. LSU is a 37.5 point favorite. Over unders at 49.5. What you looking at for those Tigers this week, Chris?
Yeah, so don't be fooled, people. I know the score against Clemson was close, but if you watch that game, LSU really dominated that second half. Man, I don't think there's anything La Tech can do that will hold back this LSU offense this week. I think Nuss could throw for 400. Caden Durham could run for 150. It could be one of those games, and LSU might put a hurting on La Tech, a 63-7 kind of hurting. It could be one of those games. So I know that the spread is high, but trust this LSU team. This is the best team in the nation in my eyes. I feel very confident that they will take care of business and cover that high spread.
Nice. Yeah, LSU had a big first game win against Clemson. Got over the hump after all of those losses over the last couple of years with game openers, and I think that's definitely going to help their confidence. And I think Brian Kelly would tell you that as well. They had to, finish. Something he talked about last year after losing that game against USC, finishing ball games when they needed to. And I think you're going to see a lot of that this season with this LSU squad. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the defense. Garrett's much more composed at the quarterback position. And as he should be, with all of those receivers, you can do what you want.
Right.
So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season for LSU. So yeah, that's a great pick, Chris. Great pick. Moving along, you got Georgia Southern taking on USC. USC coming in as a 28.5 point favorite. Over under, Chris, is at 61.5. So yeah, what are you looking at from the Trojans this week? That's silently doing things over there in LA, in Southern California. But what are you looking at from Lincoln Riley and those Trojans?
Hey man, early in the season, I think we should trust teams that are known to have really good offenses. Lincoln Riley is known for his offenses, and you saw them last week. They put up a lot of points. USC's looking really good. Another low-level opponent. I think it's an opportunity for us to take advantage. And so, and I know Lincoln Riley is another coach that is extremely motivated this season. There's been a lot of chirping around his name, and what can USC do this season? And I think he is locked in, and similar to Lane Kiffin, it's another coach that will coach the game for 60 minutes straight. And I think that USC has a lot to prove this season. And it's unfortunate, but I think the Trojans will unleash on those guys this week. So give me USC to win comfortably. Another one of those 55-10 kind of outcomes, Corey.
Yeah, I think they're going to take care of business as they should. They better. I'm interested in seeing what their quarterback Jaden Mavia does this season. I think
he's legit.
Yeah, he definitely looks legit. So I'm definitely interested in seeing what USC does this season with him at the quarterback position. So, hey, if you're Lincoln Riley, man, you're trying to relive, some of that magic, of course, with past quarterbacks that you had. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what Lincoln Riley has cooking up for USC this season.
Yeah, whatever he's cooking up, it tastes good because people in SC are antsy, Corey.
Yes, they are. Hey, look, if their Trojans aren't doing well, we got problems, okay? We got problems. That's all I gotta say. So yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna happen this season with USC for sure. I can't wait to see once they get into the Big Ten play, see how well this team is, see how well they perform. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And last but not least, Chris, I had to do it. I had to put in my docket for Bolton's bets. I asked for your blessing. You said yes, sir. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and do it for you, lovely folks listening to the show. Kansas taking on Missouri. Missouri comes in as a 6.5 point favorite. Over under is at 51.5. Chris, I'm going with Kansas. I think this team has what it takes to go toe to toe with anyone in college football. I think having a team like Missouri, and this game they have to go to Missouri, I think is a perfect matchup for Kansas. I think Eli Drinkwitz is in for a rude awakening. I'm sure he feels like by the time this game starts, Kansas is just going to lay down and they're going to win by a comfortable margin. Bo Pagula's probably going to have about 3 or 4 touchdowns, and all is going to be good in the world in Columbia, Chris. Don't think it's going to happen. I'm taking Kansas to win by 14 points.
In the words of our legend Lee Corso, not so fast.
Yes, absolutely. Not so fast, my friend. I think Jalen Daniels is going to have a really good day running the football as well as throwing the football. He's going to, get some guys open on that offense. And hey, Lance Leipold at the end of the game, he's going to look at Eli Drinkwitz and say, "Hey, you did well, son. But I brought the heat on you and the talent." And just the experience overall. So yeah, I'm taking Kansas to win this ball game, Chris. I'm gonna say Kansas wins. I'm gonna say Kansas wins 28-14.
All right. I like it.
Jalen Daniels with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and I think they're gonna look good, man. So that is my Bolton's bets.
Hey,
for the weekend.
I like it. It's fun, big time, matchup that way. Good, nice rivalry game. Kansas wins this one. It's up. Throw them in the mix to win the Big 12. It's official.
I agree, man. I think this Kansas team could be special this season. I think they're a potential dark horse Big 12 team. I think people should not overlook it.
All summer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think they should not overlook this Kansas team. Kansas fans, they want to see what Jalen Daniels really is at that quarterback position for the Jayhawks. It seems like every time they've gotten close and then, boom, he gets injured. And, they're, stuck trying to, plug new pieces into this offense. And, it never comes through. It never comes through with the way that Lance Leipold would want it to be. But I think this season, I think it's going to be totally different. Everything that he wants is going to finally come into fruition. And I think this team has what it takes to, become one of those dark horse teams in the Big 12 league.
I'm with you.
So, yeah, man. Well, that's it. That's all I got in me, Chris. Oh man, so yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting week too, folks. I hope everyone out there is ready for a lot of these games and seeing what happens. Look, we didn't even mention about like Alabama. What is Alabama going to look like in week 2 after you know flailing in Tallahassee against Florida State? We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how a couple Florida schools play out. South Florida taking on University of Florida. Nice, fun matchup, especially after seeing what South Florida did to Boise. Can they keep the momentum rolling and mess around and get another big upset? SMU, Baylor, very slept-on game. Big ramifications in that one. Boy, Baylor got one hell of a non-conference schedule on their hands. Auburn and then SMU. That's tough. If you lost to Auburn, you need this one against SMU. So we got some good games to be on the lookout for, Corey.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait to watch a lot of these games and break them down.
And we'll be remiss if we didn't bring up Mississippi State and Arizona State.
We will be remiss. That's another one. That is another one. Did you see the cowbells or the little yeah, Klinger.
Yeah, it wasn't no Klinger.
Oh my gosh! I don't know where they found those at the Dollar Tree, but I gotta say they're very cute. They're very cute. But that's not what you're gonna see.
For a rude awakening come Saturday.
Oh man, look at Arizona State creating storylines for college football. Look, they created a great one last year. They're creating another one this year. They might come out on top. Maybe they won't. Who knows? Who's to say? But we'll see. But I'll tell you this, man. They better not bring those little bells into the venue on Saturday. I'll tell you that.
Boy, they wouldn't let them in. They wouldn't let them in Davis Wade. They tried to bring those little bells in.
Oh my god! Not at all. Not at all. They'll tell them to turn back and find one. Yeah, exactly. Just go to Campus Bookmart. Just pay the good folks there. They'll get you an actual cowbell. I promise you. Probably got tons of them in the back.
Right.
I could just be a fly on the wall and probably say all week they've probably just been handing out cowbells to students. The whole student body is like, look, if you ain't got a cowbell, here's a cowbell. Bring it to the stadium this weekend.
And I wish I knew. I need to know if that's still the case. Because it's a non-conference game, there are no regulations on when you can and cannot ring, correct? Remember, there's rules for SEC games.
Yes.
Where you can, but it's a non-con. So right. I think they can ring even though they can ring like right before the snap.
Yeah.
So they're gonna hear that bell all day.
Oh man! Look, I'm just gonna go ahead and get in my bag. Just chalk this up as you can wrap this up in maroon and white. I think that's what it's gonna be. How do you function? How does one function in an environment like that?
Yeah, man, that's gonna be tough because you think it's hard for SEC teams. There's rules put in place on when you can and cannot ring. It pops up on the scoreboard.
Yes.
Ain't gonna be nothing popping up, but just ring that bell the whole game for this one because it's a non-conference game. So, hey man, welcome to Starkville, Arizona State. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, welcome to Starkville. Welcome to Stark Vegas, as the good people at home say. So,
boys, here it's gonna be ringing on that flight back home. I know that much.
I know.
They say they better hope it's ringing with the dub in hand because it's gonna be a long flight if they lose.
Oh man, yep, yes indeed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, get ready, Arizona State fans. But yeah, Chris, a great show, sir. Always great chopping it up with you, talking college football. Should be a great week too. We'll definitely be, chatting, talking about a lot of these games this weekend. But before we head out of here, got some outros. Let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can holler at your boy on Twitter, otherwise known as X, at Chris_Bolton_12. Instagram at Chris.Bolton_. Tap in with me.
Awesome. And yeah, folks, you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, of course, and listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college football, of course, professional wrestling, whichever my favorite sports is going on. You got knee deep in baseball right now, MLB. And before you know it, we'll be talking about playoff baseball. So, definitely follow me on there. But yeah, folks, we appreciate you guys always listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. Of course, if you want to follow us on social media, you know where to follow us. You can follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok at BD Sportscast. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also Amazon Music. So, yeah, definitely listen to all of our past and present episodes there. And we also simulcast here on the YouTube channel and on our Twitch channel at Breakdown Video Game Cast, where Chris and I are playing some college football 26, probably some Madden in the future, and probably some 2K as well. So, we'll definitely chime in with y'all. We'll let y'all know when we're doing that in order to connect more with the community.
Go on smoke. They can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't worry. We'll make it easy for you. We promise. Not.
It won't hurt. It won't hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, folks. Definitely follow us on there, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the episode and to all of our content that we have on our YouTube channel. Is definitely important for Chris as we continue to grow this community. And and definitely chime in with us on there and all of our socials. But yeah, we will be back, folks, on Sunday with our live episode of the Breakdown Sportscast, recapping week 2 of the college football season. So be sure to be tuned in to that, and we will definitely chat with y'all then. But until next time, I'm Corey Willis. He's Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We will chat with y'all later. Peace.
Peace.